Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rosemary Riel. I'm here with my colleague Saquon Maka, and we are going to be sharing some information about our Source Service Scholar Program. And this is for interested partner CBOs that would like to submit a project and collaborate with us in the upcoming academic year. Okay, before we begin, I'd just like to humbly acknowledge that Johns Hopkins University is located on the traditional and contemporary homelands of Indigenous people, and that our campus resides on unceded lands of the Piscataway and Susquehannock peoples. And so always think this is important so we can recognize the strength, resilience, and knowledge of peoples disproportionately impacted by racism and systemic oppression, including practices of redlining, colonization, genocide, and state sanctioned violence on the lives of Black and Brown folks in Baltimore. And if folks want to learn about land acknowledgements and why her office and myself personally think they're important, there's a couple of links there. Today's agenda. So a lot of information. And for folks in the room, feel free to come offline and ask questions at any time. We'll do a brief introduction to Source and our guiding principles, a bit about the program, give you an idea of some projects. And if you have ideas for your projects, please, you can come offline and we can discuss those and workshop those. We'll talk about the preceptor responsibilities as well as the scholar responsibilities and some about the project proposal process. So best practices for submitting the application. And then an FAQ at the end. All right, so Source, these are our core values: reciprocity, justice, service, and collaboration. And our aspiration and goal is to link the Hopkins Health Professional Schools with our partner Baltimore community partners, again, for mutually beneficial engagement and really, again, promoting health and social justice initiatives. These are our 5 guiding principles. They were developed at the university level. Our Source office has adopted them, and you can see them here. And all of these practices we weave into how we program and collaborate with you all partners, so that they can really be, if we bring students and staff and faculty to work with you all, that it's based on your priorities, so our partner priorities and community identified needs. So that's really our goal. So this is a definition of service learning that our Source office uses, and the Source Service Scholar program really utilizes this framework. So it's a structured learning experience, and again, and it combines community service, not only with that actual tasks and the sort of project activities, but really we integrate a lot of intentional preparation and reflection, a lot of context building. We really look to our preceptors and our partners to be co-educators with us, so that the long-term commitment is, again, really benefits not only the students, but the preceptors and the staff and the clients of our partner organizations. I'm going to hand over to Saquon to talk a little bit about an overview of our program.
Hello, everybody. Once again, just thank you all for joining us. Just to go over the brief overview of our program, we do need the SSS scholars to have at least 150 hours of service in between the academic school year. So that's in between August and May. We always want to reiterate that this is like a long-term commitment to your organization. So the scholars will be coming knowing that they're working for the entire academic year, and they're expected to maintain a consistent presence there. So on average, the scholars working about like 3 to 4 hours a week at the designated site. Of course, I'm adding somebody real quick. Of course, that varies depending on your need and everyone's schedule. So this program is open to the health professional schools. So that's the School of Public Health, the School of Medicine, and the School of Nursing here in Baltimore. So on top of that, the scholars also need to lead a small team of student volunteers on projects. So they'll be bringing a team of volunteers to work on your project in any way that like you and the scholar has seen fit. They'll be in charge of recruitment, and they'll implement them in the plan how you all plan out how to implement them. If you could switch them to the next slide, please. Um, so they're not coming just blank slates. They do get receive some training. Well, but first I want to say they're already in the health professional school, so they do not admit these people while I'm talking. I'm sorry. So they come from the health professional school, so they do come with all those skills, along with their own unique skills that they develop throughout just their life. We also train and give them guidance on service learning theories, reflection practices, interpersonal core competencies, project management, volunteer recruitment, delivering and reporting outcomes. So really what that means is during their project, Rosemary and myself will also consult with them and hold academy sessions where they can get like updates, supervision, they can troubleshoot anything that's going on. And yeah, that's what the last bullet is talking about, the scheduled source service academy sessions. So they'll be coming prepared with a little bit of historical background on Baltimore and John Hopkins and that relationship, how to engage community partners, but it will be your job to orient them to the specific organization.
So I'll take this slide. Again, as Saquon mentioned, the overview of the project, it's in a year-long academic um, year, one of our long-term commitments. And so this is just how we plan to practice those community-based engagement principles alongside the actual asks and practices. So, and we start off integrating those principles into our proposal. So, within the proposal components, you'll see those application components there. We ask you, of course, to describe your mission and how you'll orient the scholars to your organization, and that you will be committed to complete preceptor modules. And all of that is to be able to reflect and get on the same page and have a shared vision and value. Um, how do we show and develop mutuality and respect? Part of that is the organization's providing project guidance. So you'll put your priority, you'll describe the project areas that you have in mind. A lot of the expectations is to communicate regularly with our staff. So we will work with you as well to develop the outline of the project if you need more assistance with that. And then also that you're committing to collaborate with the scholar on a sustainability plan. So we're really thinking about this holistically. And again, the transparency and communication piece is that our project requires a primary and a secondary preceptor. And we found that as important so that you're not the only person, there's not just one person in the organization that knows what the scholar will be committing to, but that we're really building a team of support between source, the student, and your staff. And then again, within the application, you'll specify if you want on-site, hybrid, or other kind of format for project collaboration. If you're interested in remote only, we'd really need to know why remote. And so you can include that in your application. And we also ask to specify any transportation or additional training needs that the student should know in applying for your project. That fourth piece is the shared decision making. So within the application, we just ask you what you're proposing for the responsibilities and the service project deliverables and outcomes. Again, this should be identified by you and your team and your organization. And again, also proposing ideas for possible volunteer roles. So this project is different because it's not just the scholar, but the scholar is responsible for organizing and mobilizing a small team of volunteers. So, we're really looking for you to propose some ideas of what could a small team do with and for you across the academic year. and that you're committing to interviewing and ranking the applicants, so that you're also, again, involved in the shared decision making of who comes to work and collaborate with you all. And then finally, the commitment. So again, within the application, we list there the preceptor expectations. So we hope that both the primary and the secondary preceptors review those and then commit to some of the regular training and frequent engagement that we have throughout the year. So that's how the guiding principles appear in this program. All right, I'm gonna hand it back to Saquon.
Okay, so what qualifies as a project? What does it look like? Let's help conceptualize that real quick. So as long as it's a project that's focused in Baltimore City, social justice oriented, and includes the opportunity for the students to do service engagement, it counts as a project. So I really hope that those of you who are listening in, that's speaking to you, I'll give you all a hint. If you're already a source partner and your work is already qualifying under these. So if you could just move over to the next slide. Yep. So as my colleague said, you're going to develop an academic year-long project. The supervisor and mentor scholar to the completion of the service collaboration. So you will be the preceptor or whoever is designated from your organization, along with the scholars that come. We normally take about 15 projects, so we'll be having a cohort of about 15 source service scholars. Um, so just to reiterate, like they're not interns, they're project managers. They should be part of like the collaborative process of when you're creating the project. There's actually a work plan that they do with you, so expectations and deliveries and goals are very clear. And the students just working on like a single specific project from start to finish. So really, we like what we vision a lot of times is like, what projects do you really want to get done at your organization, but you just don't have the time, or you just don't have like whatever it is, whatever barrier it is. Maybe if you had a source service scholar and you could supervise that person to get the project done, that would be a resource for you. So, and in doing so, it develops their interprofessional leadership skills. It helps them engage with the community, and it helps them really get out there in the field and not just be in their academics, but actually applying the theories and things that they're learning in practice.
Mhm.
So it's a win-win. What's an intern versus a project manager? A project manager is going to be working on a specific project. They're gonna be it's gonna be a mutually designed plan of action. They're gonna bring in other team members, and there's going to be a specific project plan. Whereas an intern is more of a like these are your tasks, get them done. All right. So any organization that's interested and has preceptors, these are going to be expectations for them. So we need at least two points of contacts in your organization. So two preceptors for the project. The reason for this is because things happen and we need to have a backup just in case, or if you're unavailable, if you go on vacation, anything. Um, you are required to complete Source Online preceptor modules, including orientation from the scholar and volunteers and understanding your organizational values and justice work. What that means is we have a few source modules that take a couple hours to complete, just like they're brief videos and maybe a couple questions afterwards. And then, of course, you're required to have regular and frequent meetings with the scholar about the progress of the project. We suggest meeting like once a week or whatever works for you all. Providing appropriate guidance for the scholar to complete the project within the academic year. So please do not try to submit projects that you don't think the scholar will be able to get done in between August and May. If you are submitting a project that is like set up or planning for an event that might occur after the academic year, that's okay as long as their deliverable would be ending in May. And then just ensure the continuity of the project by working with a scholar on a sustainability plan. So whatever project it is, We don't want the scholar to just get in, do what they're supposed to do, and get out. We want it to be sustainable, something that you can actually use, and something that can actually benefit your organization and the populations that you serve. So there's also a mid-year and final evaluation, just to keep track of the scholar. We're going to ask that you're able to verify their hours. So like they're actually doing the work that they're saying they do. And then we just ask you to remain flexible, as like the program structure may change or schedules may change, and just be willing to work on the fly. But if you're already in nonprofit, then you know what it is to be flexible already. So
Thank you. Are there any questions just with the information that we've shared so far? It's pretty straightforward. Great.
I had a quick question. Sorry, this is Sarah from Novi Metro. Sorry I was joined so late, but
No worries.
yeah, running around today, one of those days. But yeah, I had a quick question. So one project when you sent this out, we had thought about is we're really trying to reach like the Hispanic Latinx community. And so we thought about, maybe a potential project surrounding that, but it would be really important that the scholar spoke Spanish. And so I just was curious, like, is that a possibility? What are the odds of that happening? Yeah.
Yes. Yes and yes and yes.
Okay.
all answers are yes.
Sure, great.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Any specific skill sets that you would like your service scholar to have, you can put that right in the proposal.
Okay.
So yeah, the process is you all have your project ideas, your priority areas, activities that you would love to have project leader, program manager do throughout the academic year. So we all ask for that outline. That's basically the proposal that you'll be sharing with us. Something enough to get folks interested. And again, specific skill sets like language are certainly acceptable. I mean, we are already creating the structure. If you say it's going to be an on-site engagement only, then that's, then we know, then they will have to know whether they can get transported on site or not, or if it's hybrid or remote, making sure that, yes, I have specific skills. There could be technical skills that you could put preferred if you use a particular app that you would like them to, or a data analysis app, if your project is something like that, or willing to learn technical skills, you can speak to that also in your application. So definitely special skills or backgrounds. Yeah, don't hesitate to put that in there. Because we certainly want to send you all applicants that can meet and be successful in your projects. Yeah.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to piggyback. I have a similar question, not in regards to the language an individual project manager may speak, but do you guys, like our agency would like to figure out how to reach a broader population so that more people can learn about us? So sort of like a marketing campaign to individuals that aren't savvy enough or never heard of us. Do you guys look at programs like that? Because we realize that a lot of people that we could be serving, we're not serving. And it's probably, due to just lack of knowledge.
Yes. So the answer is absolutely. I believe that would qualify under like community outreach and like
Yes.
educational awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give you some perspective, like right now in our current projects, we have a scholar developing out a social media campaign for an
Yes, that's
organization.
exactly kind of the thing we're looking.
Yep, absolutely. That's right up. That's right up the. That's right up the service scholar alley.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd also say, if you haven't, and maybe I could ask Safa to put the link to our current SSS program website link, because you will have a chance to look at some past scholars. All of our past cohort scholars are listed there, and they will have a description not only of who the scholar was from across the 3 different schools, but also their projects as well.
Okay.
And just to like give y'all just a little bit of a perspective on it, like we have scholars developing family outreach and engagement models for organizations. We have scholars developing like wellness plans for older adults. We have scholars putting together nutritional plans. There's storytelling, so program evaluation. Really, anything that you want to get done, but you just like, or something that you just want assistance in general, but we just like to see this as like, what is a ask of your organization and how can we do that with the student also being able to benefit and learn.
Yeah, I would say that the most successful projects with scholars have been kind of those high priority areas, as Saquon is mentioning, but so not necessarily projects that are essential core. They're kind of like dream areas that where you'd like to expand, because so there could be different stop outs and might have some evolution to them over the course of the term. Not to say that you can't integrate existing programming. We've certainly had source service scholars that did some program assessment or some needs assessment or adapting. There is a scholar this year who an organization did a program pre-COVID and had to close down that program during COVID, and now they'd like to start it up again. So there's a lot of like reviewing old programming that we've done and how do we adapt that now for our current client base and what we know. So there, that can be some of the program design work that they could do, or go back and do some interviewing for folks that perhaps participated with you previously. That's another idea.
Okay.
So just to give you all some ideas as well. And then we'll move on to the next slide that again, gives some project examples. And then the dual roles of the scholar and the volunteers. And so again, this is not a single individual project, but will be a group project. So you're really the first part of your engagement with the scholar is developing rapport, developing a relationship. So this person can be a leader of other volunteers to execute the project. Saquon, did you want to mention something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you turn it back into the presentation mode just for the recording? So it's
Oh,
speaker.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, gotcha. How do I do? I might need to stop and reshare. Okay. All right, is that
All you have to do is on the top left of your screen, you just go to press from current slide.
okay, great. Thank you. That's teamwork. Thank you. All right. And here are the slides too. Again, implementation of health-related curriculum. So if you're doing any kind of, again, Saquon mentioned nutrition. We've had older wellness. We've had for women's groups, different kinds of health-related curriculum, or if you're looking to update them for your particular client population. Again, community outreach, developing a plan, we have an organization that wants to engage more businesses in their, and so to engage with businesses to promote environmental justice, and energy justice kinds of work. And so the scholar is doing a lot of outreach in the public and doing some calls and again, developing informational interviews with potential partners of that organization. So that's an idea. I'll go to the next one. And again, advocacy. So this speaks to the campaigns, creating again awareness campaigns and supporting different events that you might have, developing social media strategies. Again, we've had a lot of recent Source Service Scholars that have supported their internal communication strategies in their organizations. And that's been helpful. And again, the sustainability plan, we really talk about, yes, you have a scholar for one academic year, but really leaving some kind of how-to resources. So they're developing resources, how-to guides for your future staff, current, future staff, other volunteers who may take the project on, so that we can make sure that it's ongoing and meaningful collaboration for you all. And the last piece is that service extension. So depending on how robust your volunteer infrastructure is, we've had volunteers really strengthen that and develop training and orientation for different kinds of volunteers, or reaching out to past volunteers and asking them what their experiences were and how they could improve the volunteer experience with your organizations. And so that's a lot of what, just some examples of past Service Scholar projects. Does anyone have any questions around what I've shared? Again, a lot of information to consider. All right, I don't see any questions coming up, so I'm gonna pass it back over to Saquon to talk a little bit about Hopkins Engage and what that is.
Right. So one of the platforms, or the main platform that we use to track the progress, to communicate throughout the Source Service Scholar project, and to track the service hours that they're completing, is done on a software platform called Hopkins Engage. Hopefully some of y'all are familiar with it. If you are not, that is completely okay. Basically what it would entail is that you would have to contact us with the name of your administrative users, and so we can just add you to Hopkins Engage so you can utilize it for the Source Service Scholar project. Once your project is approved, we'd really ask that you use the Hopkins Engage to track and record the progress that's being made. We help you through the entire process. It's also pretty intuitive as well, but there's that as well.
Right.
So these are just some of the upcoming deadlines for the project. As you can see, the deadline to submit a project proposal is the 20th. The February 20th through March 1st. We'll review the CBO applicant proposals and ask you follow-up questions. And if there's something that we're just not clear on before saying we can't accept the project, we'll ask you about it and try to work out to see what we can do to still implement the project. And then final notice on proposal acceptance will be sent out before or by Friday, March 1st. Then March through April, it'll be the recruitment of the students. So promoting the projects, asking students to participate, raising awareness of the projects. And then Friday, April 5th is going to be the deadlines for students to apply and indicate the specific projects that they like. So they'll be able to say in order which projects from 1 to 3, which projects really suit their interest. From there, we'll have an internal. Let me just admit this person real quick. From there, we'll have an internal admissions review. So we're vetting the students before we send out the applications to you. Just looking at their schedules, making sure that there's no conflicts that we see, and making sure that we're sending you the best suitable candidates for the positions. So after that, so we ask that you all would be available to interview for the positions, or interview candidates for your position, April 15th through April 26th. So you can do that in person, Zoom, or by phone, whichever one is comfortable for you all. If your project is going to be in person, I'd like to suggest having it in person if you can, just to kind of help see will the student get there? What are some of the challenges, and just it'll help the interview process. At the end of April, preceptors, that's you all, and students will report their rank orders of preferred students and placements. Summer 2024, we'd ask you to complete the modules that we're speaking of, the source modules. And they'll just prepare you to effectively work with the students and in the Source Service Scholar program, and just send us your certificate of completion in the summer of 2024. And then late August and early September, it'll be a face-to-face session with the scholars to develop their work plan and start beginning to verify their hours on their project. And then all the way down in April and May, it seems like a far ways away, but we're already almost done with our current projects, is the final celebration where we invite you all in. The scholar gets a chance to present what they've been doing, maybe share out any extra ask, and just celebrate the journey that you all have taken and the impact that it's made.
Thank you, Saquon. Yeah, so there's a couple of weeks here for you to kind of collaborate with your staff, but again, the deadline is February 20th. It's Tuesday. It's a strange day. It's the day after I think it's like President's Day is on the 19th. So and we'll have that review. So we really take your application and we turn that into a project sheet. And so basically, if we have any questions about the sheet, think about it as a way to, this is what the applicants will look at to get an idea of your ask, of your priorities, of your organization. And so we'll be able to do that together. We'll share with you the draft. Again, you'll see a draft of what the project sheet will look like. And you can help us make sure that it's accurate and captures what you're really looking for. And so that happens between February 20th and March 1st, because at March 1st, we'll have all of the projects ready, all of those project sheets ready to send out to interested students. And so that's what our ask is. And then again, the other ask is once we do the initial review, that the students will actually do outreach to you all. So we really put the ball in their court. They'll be reaching out to the individual. So you will be able to schedule that during that period. So we just ask that the students initiate it. You're responsive to them and are able to schedule according to your availability during that interview period. All right. Thanks, Saquon. All right.
Real quick, Rosemary, we had a quick question in the chat.
Oh, absolutely.
Will it be possible for a postdoctoral research fellow at Hopkins Hospital to get involved in it as a scholar? So I think the question is, can their postdoctorate research fellow I think that they're already working with be a Source Service Scholar?
A postdoc in the School of Medicine, in the School of Nursing, or in the School of Public Health?
Santa, you feel free to jump on.
Come off.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Yeah, so I think so here's the thing. I'm in a full-time MPH student, and May is the time I'm graduating. But I'm really interested, and I into get involved in any project with Source. So I was wondering, after we graduate as a postdoc in the hospital, I'm talking about the hospital. So is there a possibility to actually enroll and submit the application, or it's specifically for the postdocs of the Bloomberg School?
So the Source Service Scholar Project is open to the School of Medicine, School of Public Health, and School of Nursing. Rosemary, do you have more insight on the?
Yes, there are limitations. So our Service Scholar program is supported by the School of Medicine to support their med students 1 through 4 only. And in the Bloomberg School of Public Health, I believe it's all of their students enrolled in full-time programs. So I don't believe that postdoctoral affiliations are eligible. I'll have to follow up with our director. And similarly, I think it's for matriculating students, similarly in nursing.
By 1 through 4, you mean first year, second year, third year, and fourth year of their medical?
Correct. That is, that's the collaboration outlined by the School of Medicine.
Okay,
With-
so thank you for this information. I just have a
Sure.
follow-up question with that. After graduation, I'll be an alumni from Bloomberg School. So can't an alumni be a part of this if there are seats available?
L-
No, because it's really it's really a project specifically for the students that are currently enrolled. The Source Service Scholar Program has been going on for quite some time, so it's been available for everybody that's came through it. And just for the sake of time, if you have any questions about like becoming a Source Service Scholar to work on a project, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. But this meeting is specifically for the community-based organizations that want to submit proposals for the Source Service Scholars. But I'd be
Correct.
happy to answer any individual questions offline.
Okay. Thank you, thank you.
But hopefully that's helpful for you for the CBOs as well, to know that they're full-time students as well. And Odette, do you have any immediate questions?
Yes, I was just gonna
Awesome.
say,
Yeah,
I'm
great.
sorry, I'm trying to finish something up.
No
But-
worries.
Remember flexible. Remember flexible.
Yes.
We know.
So I was gonna ask, number one, is the PowerPoint gonna be available and sent out?
Yep, we'll send
And-
that to you, to all of the organizations that have attended and registered. So yep, you will
Okay.
get all of this information so you can share out with your colleagues.
And then I know we have to come up with our proposal. And I'm assuming the format is, I believe I saw an example of like the format. If we have any specific questions for you during the time as we're putting it together, because our ultimate goal is to be picked. And I know that it's competitive, but if like, do you give recommendations, the length of the proposal, things of that nature?
We will work with you on your application if that's what you want. We're here to support you as much as we
Okay.
can. Yeah, so any questions that you have when you're filling
Okay.
out the proposal, just shoot us an email or
Okay.
schedule a meeting and we'll be here.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say two things when you answer the questions, twofold. One, yes, they're for us to review. But then also two, they're also for like the students who like, how would you orient them to the project? So there's kind of two audiences. It's us. We all are already partners. So even if your project doesn't happen to get picked, for some reason, we know it's your priority. We're partners with you for the long run. We'll work with you to see which of our programming it actually fits, because
Okay.
we certainly have other programs like the Baltimore Action Project, our Baltimore Community Practicum, et cetera. So it's a great opportunity to put in front of our team your priorities. And the Source Service Scholar Program, I mean, is kind of the one that has a lot of different layers, because it's beyond an individual student. It's also a team, and it's also long, right? So people are often concerned about the length of time when they do a proposal. So again, both Saquon and I would be happy to follow up. We just certainly encourage you to submit something to give us an idea. And then again, during that period of February 20th to March 1st, we will follow up, or we'll send what you've submitted to your primary contact to follow up, because we know it's a priority.
Okay.
Yeah. So great question. Saquon, do you want to take this first slide? And these are just some frequently asked questions.
Sure. So the first question is, my proposed project is really for one student internship project. Is that suitable for a Source Service Scholar project? The answer is, it needs to be something the student can project manage. Just reminding you all that like it needs to be something that they're going to bring a team on, and it has to have a final deliverable by the end of the academic year.
And we support students in getting those volunteers. That's what we just really need our partners to help us develop the roles and help to orient volunteers. Okay, go ahead.
I've had a Source Service Scholar in the past. Can I apply for one again? Your answer is yes, but your proposal cannot be the same as your previous one. So it has to be a separate and distinct project. And then also noting that we do try to give priority to new organization applications in order to promote equity.
Mhm. Yeah. I think the next one is we've talked about a couple of reasons already about the preceptors. Why 2 preceptors? And again, it just ensures that the organization is aware of the Scholars Project. In the past, we've had, of course, turnover, and then we are trying to avoid the scholar or the project or the collaboration that has happened up to that point to kind of fall. So we're just creating kind of that safety net as well. Next question is, how many hours per week will the scholar work, and will they be working a regular schedule? So the answer to that is the schedule for week to week will depend on the project and the preceptor. So a lot of relationship building in the beginning. We strongly encourage meeting weekly and setting up regular times to meet. So typically, they will meet for anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a week. It doesn't mean that the student has to be on site for that entire period. It can. Again, we in the beginning, as we're developing rapport and developing building trust in the work. But the goal is for 150 hours total. So that's why we're also involved to help you all track and help us keep on track throughout the academic year. After about midpoint, 75 hours is usually typically completed around this time, around January, February, and then 150 at the end of the year. Okay. I'll pass it back to Saquon.
All right, trying to see that last one. Screen. Okay, my screen. Okay, there it is. I'm a busy professional. How much supervision is needed of the scholar? And preceptors have the capacity to establish supervision hours based on your own schedule and the schedule of the scholar. Like I said before in the meeting, honestly, it's we'd say that you try to remain consistent, but however you see fit to do that. I suggest like a solid set date and time, maybe once or twice a month or once a week to meet for supervision. But we're really trying to make this as seamless as possible for you all in your daily workload.
And we also, a lot of the work that we do in the beginning in August, September, and October is really encouraging and facilitating the scholars to develop strong communication skills. So we have, how do you establish open communication? Of course, they're students and they're getting to know their class schedule, their commitments, et cetera. And so, encouraging them to be as open and transparent and honest about their availability so you can work together to find the right times to connect. Oops, is that it? Oh, it is. Can't believe it. Any other questions that might be coming up for you, Odette? Or thoughts?
No, well, one kind of sort of.
Sure.
So I actually can think of 2 projects, but I also wondered if I could kind of merge the projects into one. Because our agency needs help with marketing out to the public, but you were going through the slides. We want to make sure we reach all of those who are also in need, but we also want to market to prospective partners and grow our collaboration. So I saw, bullet points on the PowerPoint that had those things as possible proposals. So I was just kind of thinking out loud and saying, well, number one, do you take 2 proposals? Or number 2, if I should just kind of collaborate it or merge it and make it kind of one, because it is still all kind of marketing.
I would say, well, to answer the question, we could only accept 1 proposal per community-based organization.
Gotcha.
And then also with your second question, it's all outreach, right? So the project, so it would just be a larger goal or a larger deliverable.
Okay.
And I would say, like, as long as you think that's still tangible, then there's no reason it's not good.
Yeah, and I would say, yeah, you can put it like a phase 1 or phase 2, like in
Okay.
order, like how to help the scholar and us identify like the, you know, the how it could potentially be laid out over the course of the academic year. So
Okay.
that's what and I would say that other organizations have done something similar,
Okay.
like put a couple of different phases, but then again, a couple of years ago, I had a conversation with a past Source Service Scholar preceptor and who had been a preceptor for many projects and mentioned that, you know, really anticipating like there may be different stop outs.
Mhm.
Even so, you share the outline. This is your priority area. This is the you know, the aspiration. And as you work together, you know, things will happen, but there might be a couple of different stop outs that you still feel like you've collaborated. You know, time might be a limitation, you know, in the spring and you wanted to do all of these things, but really you get through half or 2/3 of it.
Gotcha.
It's still positive and still
Oh, no, I
mutually
agree, because we'd be
still
further
mutually-
along than we are now. Yeah.
yes, mutually beneficial. On the flip side, we've also had scholars and preceptors who actually the student came with a lot more data skills that they thought and programming skills, and they went through some of the work a lot more quickly than they
Got you.
anticipated.
Got you.
And they were also, Saquon, this was one of your advisees. How did they adapt to that? Do you remember?
To getting the
Reading
work done.
partners. Well, I mean, last year, they, because of, gosh, I can't remember.
She came in and had like knowledge of like software that got the job done for them in like ways they hadn't even expected, and they had to shift to like more deliverables for her because she completed it so quickly.
Well, and then it expanded, like, so
Yeah.
like reporting out, then they actually had more time to think about the applications of like the data that she reported out and talking, you know, developing actual recommendations based on kind of the information that she was able to crunch for them. So, and in the group too. And so, you know, they were able to like develop different advocacy things. So they had to actually, you know, they were able to, again, this is to sort of to the point of like being able to co-design the project and just have the communications to be able to move it along whatever progression makes the best sense for the organization, the preceptor and the scholar. So, but great question. All right. So here, applications due February 20th. This is our closeout. This is a quick QR code. So hopefully if you're watching this video, you feel comfortable and confident to submit an application. We'd love to learn more about your priorities and get our service scholars connected with you for the upcoming academic year.
All right.